Anyone been playing anything exciting worth bringing up? I mean, obviously, there's one game that I know we could bring up, but do we want to go down that rabbit hole right away?
Who's in my mouth?
Well, since you're still able to talk, I'm guessing it was Ryan.
No, I remember that game.
Wow.
It's like, well, usually when you get a group of guys, joking about a game they could all play, it's usually Who's in My Mouth or Smash Brothers. And
Yeah.
Smash Brothers hasn't been released yet on the Switch. Hey, you see what kind of transition I did there? That was like pretty clever, huh?
Stellar.
Yeah, now we can talk about Switch games. Well, how many aren't there? 4 of us?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
go. Right?
Yep.
Yep.
So, how about we'll just go right into Monster Hunter World. I don't know if you've played this at all, Arthur. Probably not. I don't know. Did you pick it up yet?
No, I haven't gotten around to it on PS4. No, not yet.
Yeah. So we all bought it launch day, and I think that first week I sunk like 36 hours into it, which is kind of disgusting because I don't really have 36 spare hours in the week mostly. But I'm in love with that game. That's a great game.
Have you played any of the other ones, like any of the older Monster Hunter games?
Yeah, I've been a fan for quite a while now. I got really into the Monster Hunter Tri or 3 or whatever it was called. It was, the same game, but the Wii U version. And this is just like so much better. There's like a ton of quality of life improvements. Like when you're mining, you don't have random pickaxe breaks. You don't have bug net breaks. You don't have a lot of these like simple like annoyances have been updated. So it's a much smoother game. That said, it's still very much like a janky Monster Hunter game. Like Capcom's like Nintendo. They have no idea at this point how internet lobbies work or matchmaking or what really that should look like. So it's the most convoluted, least explained part of the game, along with just a bunch of other shit that they just kind of expect you to figure out. But if you're willing to accept that, and especially if you're already a Monster Hunter fan, it's by far the best Monster Hunter game. I mean, it's so good. The visuals are great.
What would you say about the difficulty compared to like the original game that you played, like on Wii U?
It's a lot more forgiving, at least to the point where I'm at. I mean, on the older versions, I would frequently either go on missions where I ran out of time, or some inventory item broke and then I couldn't complete the mission and I'd have to just leave. And I failed a few times along the way in this one, but I think it's a lot more balanced.
Yeah, because I'm guessing they obviously invested a ton of money, because I just saw it, like I saw the video of it, and it looks like it was a huge investment on their part, but also seems like a really big risk to try to invest that much money into like kind of like a niche game like that. So I think it'd be smart of them if they kind of dropped the difficulty curve, but I can't talk. I haven't played, so I haven't seen like what it's like.
Yeah. Well, I definitely think it was a gamble because, I mean, the game has been a smash success everywhere but the United States. And for the amount of money that they obviously had to put into this thing, if it didn't take hold over here, which it has, luckily, I don't know that we'd see another one, at least outside of handhelds.
Yeah. That's kind of cool, though. Like, because the bigger the community is, like, I'm, like, more motivated to, like, kind of give it a shot now,
Yeah, and I can say from my background, like, I tried the old PSP ones and just could not relate to them at all. But this one, I've been the same way with Ryan. I've got 30-some hours in a week, too. So it certainly got the bug into me now, too. So something changed along the way.
Can you think of anything that they, like, changed from the PSP version to here? Like, anything that's different in the gameplay that kind of just makes you get into it, like, more easily?
Yeah, the big one for me is, like, you can, if the monster runs away, you can track them a lot easier in this game. Because I remember the old ones, correct me if I'm wrong, Ryan, but you had to, like, do a specific action.
Yeah, you had to throw the paintball.
Okay, that's what it was. Yeah, there was something that you had to, like, do so you could actually see where the monster went. And half the time I wouldn't be able to do that. So...
Yeah. Well, and that's another thing, too, like, as you're mentioning, when they would run away. In the older games, like, everything was compartmentalized into zones and you had to load in and out of each one of them. And there's still zones on the overlaying map, but it's one continuous hub world. So there's no like breaking of, the pieces back and forth. It's one large map that you're exploring that just on the map happens to have different zones overlaid on it. But it's much more immersive, I guess.
And this one, it feels like the old ones were just like balls hard right away. And this one seems like it's more like, hey, we'll give you 3 easy ones, manageable ones. And then after that, you're going to hit a wall and you're going to have to grind on this one a little bit. 3 more after that, same thing, where it still sucks. Even when you're grinding that, like having kids and a busy life, having those missions that you drop, a half hour in and you don't gain anything from it. That kind of sucks still in 2018. But overall, I mean, if we get to the end of that game and it's that, I could guarantee I'll be frustrated enough to quit if it's just like grinding to the point where we not get anywhere. Yeah.
Yeah. And that is like, I will say that's the biggest problem with this game is I obviously like put in some late nights on this thing, but it just it's not conducive to my schedule because I don't necessarily have an hour straight to sink into it. Cause it's not like there's a pause button, right? You start a 50-minute game or you start a mission for a 50-minute hunt and I'm in that. Like I have to be there to finish it out right then and there. So it's kind of tough. Like you have to make sure you're kind of notching out the appropriate level of time. I mean, kind of 2 hours is really what you need to get anything done. By the time you log in and get stuff done, do your buffs.
Yeah, true.
What do you think of it, Justin? I know this is like the first one you've actually sunk any time into.
Yeah, well, like I bought the Wii U version a while back. And tried to play once or twice with you.
Yeah.
And I couldn't play that one, like not because of the gameplay, because of the party chat system annoyed me too much. So when I heard that it was coming to PS4, we played the beta, and the being able to actually talk and communicate made it feel like it was going to be a pretty fun game. So when it released, I picked it up as well, and I really enjoy the game. I have a lot of trouble playing it for a long time. I think that first 3 days or whatever, we put a lot of hours into it.
Yeah.
But since then, it's kind of like I put in 2 hours here, 2 hours there. And I really struggle by myself because I play as a ranged attack and I just get destroyed. So it's not really as much fun by myself.
Yeah.
So I can't complete missions hardly. But if we can get into a group and like, I think it was Tyler and I went through and ran quite a few different things and it was pretty easy with 2 people, but 4 it should be easier, but we struggle for some reason.
Yeah, we've had some bad rolls.
I really enjoy it. Gameplay is good. The graphics look good. I feel once you kind of get the movement and just the game style down, you'll enjoy it a lot more.
Yeah. It's definitely a game that requires patience, that's for sure. And I would also like to point out just how awesome it is that they made an NPC called Fiverr Bro that just sits in the bar and does nothing but eat and drink.
Whoa. Like what kind of a character is it? Is it like a human or?
Yeah, it's a human. But then the canteen is all run by cats, of course, which they really up the ante on the caps. Yeah, it's so cool. Yeah, I love the animation. Every time you order food from the cats, there's that same animation, and it still just puts a stupid smile on my face, like even after playing it 100 times. It's great. So it's Japanese as fuck.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's gonna raise a couple eyebrows,
For sure.
I just think it's amazing. Like it's so crazy how much like I guess like the more niche Japanese games are really kind of catching on here. Like at first, it was kind of like Final Fantasy, and even at that time that was kind of like a little exotic. And now you're kind of getting into like more and more like niche stuff from Japan. And now the thing you're seeing in a lot of US releases is like, does Monster Hunter have Japanese voice acting as an option, or is there voice acting in that game?
There is voice acting. I don't know if there's a Japanese dub built in though.
I bet there is.
I don't think so.
I bet there is.
You think so?
I would think so, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right, because you can set your language from the main menu. That's right. Yep. I bet you're right.
Yeah, I just think that part's crazy too, because like if you think back to like even like the late 90s, early 2000s, it's like there's like no concept of a game being released with like a Japanese voice track, and now it's like people want that. So I don't know. Japan's definitely like doing a lot of crazy stuff with like their game industry, just making that big of an impact.